Good morning, dears. This is Pratibha Bhujka, lecturer in English, Gidraj Government College, Zamba. So, this the topic, today's topic, the gift of Maggie, or in the plural sense, Magi, is the topic of first year, second sem. Right? Okay. So before entering into the prose, what do you call it, short story, let us know about what do we call the author of this short story. O. Henry, the author of this short story, he has written the real name of O. Henry is William Sidney Potter, born in the year 1862 and died in 1910. He has written in pseudonym. Pseudonym means his pen name O. Henry. Why he has chosen this name? Because when he was for some cause imprisoned for 3 years, he met a prison staff named Orrin Henry, and after release he wanted to become a serious writer, and on the name of that prison staff, Orrin Henry, he started writing his short stories. And from between 1899 to 1910, he wrote more than 250 short stories. And what do we call the Society of Arts and Sciences instituted an annual short story prize, the O. Henry Memorial Award, in recognition of his achievement as a short story writer. Right, beta? So here I just want to enlighten you that this Magi, where I said that Magi is the plural pronunciation of Maggie. The Magi is the three wise men, what do you call, of East, who bring offering to the infant Christ, and each decides to enhance the value of others' possession through a gift on Christmas Eve. Okay, did you understand, beta? Three wise men of the East who bring offerings to the infant Christ, each decides to enhance the value of others' possession through a gift on Christmas Eve. In the same way, the characters in this short story also lose their prized possession. What do we call? To present the gifts to their loved one. Okay, uh, this is the brief what do you call meaning. I just want to tell you about this, the gift of Maggie. So let's move to the slide and next slide, and we're gonna learn what they have lost, what is their possessive thing they have lost to present gifts to their loved one. Okay, $1.87. $1.87, that was all, and 60 cents of it was in pennies. Pennies saved one and two at a time by bulldozing the grocer and the vegetable man and the butcher, until one's cheek burned with the silent imputation of parsimony that such close dealing implied. 3 times Della counted it, $1.87, and the next day would be Christmas. So here, why that the starting line itself tells us $1.87. Why that it means here Della has only $1.87, and she is not an employee to earn the money. She's a homemaker. And how did she earn this money? By bulldozing, means by bargaining at the grocery shop, at the vegetable shop, and at the mutton shop. And she has earned all this. She has saved, she didn't earn it by bargaining, she has saved this money. And many times, not many times, but 3 times she counted the money. She counted that one. And in what do we call, how many times she counted, she got the same total amount, the same number, that is $1.87. And the next day would be Christmas. Okay, so why is she counting that money? Let us know. There was clearly nothing to do but flop down on the shabby light couch and howl. So Della did it, which instigates the moral reflection that life is made up of sobs, sniffles, smiles, with sniffles predominating. She couldn't do anything. She counted it for 3 times, and she got the same number, $1.87. She just sat down there, and she started thinking that life is made up of ups and downs. And she says life is made up of joys and sorrows. And she says sorrows are predominating. Okay, sorrows are predominating. Understood? Did you understand, beta? Let's move to the next slide. While the mistress of the home is gradually subsiding from the first stage to the second, take a look at the home, a furnished flat at $8 per week. It did not exactly beggar description, but it certainly had that word on the lookout of the medicancy squad. Okay, beta. So here she says $1.87. She has only that much of amount. And the next day is Christmas Day. The present day is Christmas Eve, before Christmas, before the day of Christmas. And she says sorrows, the life is ups and downs with joys and sorrows, and sorrows are predominating. And she says, okay, let's have a look of the home which we are residing. It is finely furnished, and its cost is $8 per week. How does it look? Okay, did you understand, beta? Let's move to the next slide. In the vestibule below was a letter box into which no letter would go, and an electric button from which no mortal finger could coax a ring. Also appertaining thereunto was a card bearing the name Mr. James Dillingham Young. So now we're gonna introducing the second character named Mr. James Dillingham Young. Okay, so the name of Mr. Young's wife is Della. The first character is Della, as she got introduced in the first paragraph itself. And now at the very first slide, she got introduced by counting the money which she had. And now here in this slide, we're gonna get the introduction of Mr. James, husband of Della. In the vestibule below was a letter box. I mean, this lady is describing the home which they are residing. She says that this home cost is $8 per week, and outside there's a letter box in which they would not have any letter. So no letter is going to, the no in that letter box, dropped in the letter box. No letter is dropped in that letter box. And an electric button from which no mortal finger could coax a ring. Nor there is a what do you call, bell, electronic bell outside the door, and no one is going to ring that bell. means no one, they don't have any, means here just they want to describe that Della wants to tell that they don't have any relations outside who would write a letter to them, nor there are no one to who gonna ring the bell and meet them. Okay, also appertaining thereunto was a card bearing the name, and outside there was a name plate which bear the name Mr. James Dillingham Young. The complete name of Della's husband is Mr. James Dillingham Young. The Dillingham had been flung to the breeze during a former period of prosperity when its possessor was being paid $30 per week. Okay, so Mr. James Dillingham Young, so Dillingham blew away. Okay, what do you call, many days before only, when what do you call, James used to earn $30 per week. Understood? But did you understand this slide? There would not be any letter dropped in the letterbox, nor anyone ringing the electronic bell, and there was a name plate Mr. James Dillingham Young, and that Dillingham what do you call, flew away before prosperity, and when Mr. James was earning $30 per week. Did you understand, beta? Is it clear? Okay. Now, when the income was shrunk to $20, the letters of Dillingham looked blurred, as though they were thinking seriously of contracting to a modest and unassuming D. Did you understand with that? So now, when the income shrunk to, he was earning $30 per week, and now he's earning $20 per week. The Dillingham, which was, the nameplate was shining when he was earning $30 per week, and now he's earning $20 per week. What happened? The name on the nameplate Dillingham looked blur. Okay, but whenever Mr. James Dillingham Young came home and reached his flat above, he was called Jim and greatly hugged by Mrs. James Dillingham Young, already introduced to you as Stella, which is all very good. Did you understand, Beta? The nameplate looked blurred. The nameplate looked blurred when he started earning dollars 20 per week, but the love between Della and Jim, Della used to call usually him as Jim. Whenever he used to reach the flat, the same love she used to show, she used to hug him. Okay, she used to hug in the same way. There is no change in their love. Did you understand, beta? Is it clear? Let's move to the next slide. Della finished her cry and attended to her cheeks with a powder rag. She stood by the window and looked out dully at a grey cat walking a grey fence in a grey backyard. Okay, did you understand? Della finished her cry, means she was crying, means she was not crying, but she wanted to, she has only $1.87. She was thinking about only that one, and next day was Christmas. So what? So just she was thinking about that one, and she stood by the window, looked at it was very dull, because she was dull, and she started looking at a grey cat walking in a grey fence in a grey backyard. Tomorrow would be Christmas Day, and she had only $1.87 with which to buy Jim a present. She had been saving every penny she could for months with this result. And she says she was standing at the window and she was thinking, the next day is Christmas and I have to buy a present to my gym, and I have only 1.87 $1.87, and that too she has been saving months together, not for 1 day or not for 2 days. She has been saving for months together, and she has only 1.87 cents, $1.87. Understood, beta? Did you understand? She was just thinking next day is, what do we call, Christmas, and I have to buy a present to Jim. Understood, beta? So how could I buy present? The penny she has saved, $1.87, she could not buy any gift to her Jim. Okay, let's move to the next slide. $20 a week does not go far. Expenses had been greater than she had calculated. They always are. Only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim, her Jim. Many a happy hour she had spent planning for something nice for him, something fine and rare and sterling, something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim. And she says $20 per a week does not go far. There are many expenses. You know, she has been calculating, and uh, what the amount the Jim is earning for per week. Expenses are more than that one. And how could they save? How could Della save the money? And she says, I have only $1.87 to buy a present for Jim. Her Jim means my Jim. Okay, I have to buy a gift to my Jim. And how can I buy a gift by having only $1.87? And she says, many a happy hour she had spent planning for something nice for him. She has spent many happy hours with him, and now she is planning to buy something which should be very nice to him, something fine and rare and sterling. She says it should be very rare. Whatever gift I am gonna present to my Jim, it should be rare. It should be very precious to her Jim. That is to my Jim. Something just a little bit near to being worthy of the honor of being owned by Jim. So it should be very precious. Whatever gift I am gonna present to my Jim on Christmas should be very worthy. Did you understand better till here? Is it clear? Okay. Okay, let's move to the next slide. There was a pier glass between the windows of the room. Perhaps the window of the room. Perhaps you have seen a pier glass in an $8 flat. A very thin and very agile person may, by observing his reflection in a rapid sequence of longitudinal strips, obtain a fairly accurate conception of his looks. Della, being slender, had mastered the art, and she says, what do we call, the glasses between the windows of the room. You can understand. You can what do we call? Think what type of glasses they are, the pier glass, and you can what do we call? Think what type of glasses are there, because this flat cost $8 per week, and you can understand what it might be, how the reflection would be. And she says, I have been residing in this house, and I know I have what do we call, mastered the art. I can, by seeing in the glass, I can see the reflection. I can understand the reflection. So she says, the pier glasses, you can understand, because the cost of the house is very low. It is dollars. 8 what do you call per week, and you can understand how the resistance will be. And I have got habituated to it. Suddenly she whirled from the window and stood before the glass. Her eyes were shining brilliantly, but her face had lost its color within 20 seconds. Rapidly, she pulled down her hair and let it fall to its full length. When she was standing before that pier glass between the windows, she she got a thought, and suddenly she stood in front of the glass. Her eyes were shining brilliantly, means she got some thought. Some thought was running in her mind. Huh? And for 20 minutes, her eyes were shining brilliantly. Suddenly, she removed, pulled down her hair, and made it fall. How much length it is? Fall to its full length. Understood, beta? When she was standing before a pier glass between the window, she was seeing her reflection. Suddenly, she got a thought, and she came in front of the glass. Her eyes were shining brilliantly, very brightly, for 20 seconds, and she pulled out her hair and made it fall to its full length. Understood, beta? Did you understand till here?